The language Japanese is really different from American or most other European language. It's the only language I've heard that's similar to it is Korean. Even Chinese is pretty different. It's spoken, I've heard, closer to English, but don't take my word on that. It's part of it is difficult for the different sentence structure. They put their verbs after their subjects, which is something to get used to. But more than that, I think the way the culture affects the language is what makes it difficult. Well, for one, stuff doesn't translate literally at all. There's some languages in which if you just translate like an idiom or a saying, literally it'll carry, but not Japanese. You're just going to confuse people. But yeah, their need to be polite really affects the way it works. And so one thing you'll learn is that you want to be as roundabout as possible, especially when wanting to like ask a favor from someone. You do not want to ask them up front, for the most part. At least judging from the interactions of other people, I don't know if they'd be offended, but for the most part, people only ever asked us in super roundabout ways. And so, try to beat around the bush as much as you can. We would have people not even ask for stuff at all. They would just be like, hey, like the sister's birthday is tomorrow, and then would leave it up to us to offer to like, oh, we'll make like a card or something. And that wasn't uncommon. It's the biggest thing to get it over, just in terms of like wrapping your head around this structure, is just that there's a lot of thought that goes into the ending of a sentence rather than like halfway through. You'll end up pausing at the end to figure out how to wrap everything up, because that verb that you'll use is like it kind of like ties everything together, and you got to be able to like hopefully piece together so that it makes sense. So like instead of saying the fox jumped over the log, you would say the fox over the log jumped. And so you kind of figure out setting, I guess, if that makes sense, way more than you worry about the actions happening, which of course growing up in the language it would come to you naturally, but coming at that from a completely different background makes it really difficult to get over. And so really focus on grammar if you're trying to learn Japanese. Focus on the cultural settings. Listen to people. There's a lot of that. You need to really pay attention to the way people speak if you want to become coherent, because it takes a lot longer to learn Japanese as like an English speaker, for example, than it would be to learn Spanish as an English speaker. And so just be aware of that if you're looking into studying Japanese.